Hey guys, we got such a nice, slow-paced, character-focused chapter this week with Robin and Saul and the whole crew just being there. Oda had such a great way of tying everything together and magnifying that Water 7 and I Want to Live moment by bringing up stuff that we didn't know before, and it was all insinuated, but it's just great that we got all this background from Robin's point of view in the early chapters. And man, reading halfway through this chapter was I started getting teary-eyed, and I don't know how Oda does it, but enjoy. Get your cup of drink, get your coffee, tea. I got me some tea here now, my favorite cup, and enjoy the chapter. So I'll go through the chapter real quick. We get on the early part just Robin and the background of everything. So chapter 1133 called Praise, and we get such a vulnerable moment that we don't get this moment with Robin very often. And when it happened here, I kind of just wanted to break down and just started getting teary-eyed reading this chapter because we never see this side of Robin. She's always just very I don't know the word exactly, like stoic to herself, doesn't share, doesn't overshare. And this part, so we go into a flashback of all the lies that were told about Robin, the government making lies about her, the people chasing her down, and how she's just trying to survive. And a key moment is we see how they erased O'Hara from the maps, which means that there are maps out there that previously have O'Hara there, and the island is still there. It's not destroyed. It's just not in any current circulating maps. It's been wiped clean from history in this case. And we have her thinking about jumping off a cliff, and the things that keep her going is Saul, remembering the words that you will find friends and there will be people for you. And she's just, as an 8-year old, I know it's a story, a fantasy or whatever, but as an 8-year old thinking about this much and how much you have to grow up so quickly, it gives so much emphasis to that moment when she says I want to live. And it Oda ties it all back together and emphasizes that moment even more by giving people a world view of how she had to live before getting to that moment and everything in between, young up to getting old. Anyway, we cut back to Elbaph, and they're all finally they're all finally together, and we see a ship that is called a Svalar, and it's so cool. Like this Oda is he's flexing his imagination muscles, because this is a ship. It's not on clouds, but the rows are on sea clouds, and it's making the ship float through the sky, and like the perfect conditions are on Elbaph, so there could be sea clouds that carry ships. It's awesome. I think Oda is cooking on this island. I am really enjoying all his imagination. And when they finally meet Hydrugen, key thing here is, I feel like it's a key thing, I don't remember, right? So when he on Egghead, I don't know if Luffy calls everybody by their name. So I don't know if he says Vegapunk per se. He's like old man or something like. But here he calls Hydrugen. Like he says his name. He doesn't call him Law Guy or something like that. It's Hydrugen, which I think is significant. And I like how they're bickering. Like, I didn't want subordinates. It's not your choice anymore. It's our choice. So where are your subordinates? And Road is getting just crucified in the freaking background, which is it's fucking classic. It's hilarious. I love it. It's so funny because there's two panels where he's just in the background getting crucified. And one key thing, and I can't wait for the exposition dump, the lore dump that's gonna happen eventually when they're all eating, relaxing in a campfire setting, talking, and they just bring up all these topics. Like Gerd just brought up that Lin and her used to be friends. Like, okay, and then she did something unfathomable. Okay, please, I cannot wait for the lore dump that's gonna happen with all this, and get an explanation for Loki, for Big Mom, everything. Get a lore dump. Hey, kitty, what's up? Got my cat over here. So And then Robin says, "Hey, Luffy," and we skip over that part where it's like, I gotta meet Saul. I haven't seen Saul in 22 years. And Luffy immediately, we cut to some next panel. It's like, nah, we're going. I'm going with you. I have to thank the person that people that have taken care of my crew before they've got to my side, like my crew, before they became my crewmates. And Robin's like, where did you hear that? It's like, I don't know. I think it's just, and Luffy's like, I think it's just the way to do it. And I like that Luffy's leadership has grown, and this is something that he's like, I just have to do this. There's no rule on it, but it's something I want to do. And I am loving this transition into authority figure by Luffy, leadership figure by Luffy. And this, the transition's been slow because it's been years in the making, decades in the making, and I love it. But yeah, they're on their way. Gert is the one that takes them on the ship, the same rowing, flying ship, and they're just amazed. And I think this is one of the most beautiful islands that we've been in. Like the way that it looks like an ocean, it's the libraries on top of the tree, everything's built around the tree. It's magnificent. I think it's beautiful. This is one of the most beautiful places I've seen drawn that I can remember in a while, other than Wano. But this fantasy setting and island is beautiful. Hey, come on, kitty. You're she's under the desk just creating a ruckus. Okay, I'll try and show the kitty if she gets in the way. But yeah, it's beautiful waterfall, and Luffy's like, okay, let's go. Like, oh, and then one more thing I wanted to mention is Luffy gave up. He's saying, I'm starving, and he said, oh, Robin wants to meet Saul. Hey, we're not gonna eat anymore. We're gonna go do this together as a crew. And and then you notice here, it's like immediately, okay, let's go get Saul and bring him back to the tavern so we can eat. but we got to do this first. Let's chill, and we got to do this for Robin first. Because it's very rare that a crewmate has a request from Luffy. I feel like they've never really requested this. Hey, kitty, come on. And so, and then the moment Robin says, my heart's pounding, is the way Oda can write into this the nervousness that you are experiencing for Robin. And the moment that then we did have that hanging fruit, right? Or red herring, I think is the word, where it's mentioning Saul fell. Somebody needs to help him. But it's just, he was so nervous also. He didn't know how to introduce himself to Robin. And I think he fell the initial way, and that he met Robin in her backstory. And she's like, it's Saul. Why was I worried? And they have this little back and forth talking to each other, and he didn't know how to introduce and talk to each other. So it feels very familiar to how you would talk to somebody that you haven't talked to in a very, very long time. You haven't met in a very, very long time. And oh, kitty. Yeah, it's my little kitty. All right, no worries. Just go down. You just wanted to be around. And it's very reminiscent to how you would talk to somebody, and you're reminiscing about the past, what you've talked to about, and seeing how much you've grown, how much you've changed between the two of you. And he's talking facts, Saul's talking facts, and I'm like, this is the person you haven't met in such a long time. And Robin breaks character that we've known her for so long for. And she says, aren't you going to praise me for how I've survived all this time? And we just get Saul get teary-eyed and laugh, and he's like, yes, of course. You've survived such a long time. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. And I love this part because we have him hug her really hard. And she says, oof. We have her just go oof in one of the panels. It's beautiful. And I break down crying when they finally say, I've missed you so much. And they're both just tearing up. I can't. This chapter was beautiful in that sense. Finally, something that's been so long overdue since we knew Saul was alive is the meeting between Robin and Saul. So it's just so heartwarming. Finally, I know some people are not happy that Saul is alive. He should have been dead, some people saying, but maybe there's a reason for it, a narrative reason, a book reason, or horror reason, because we did know that Saul was the one that collected the books. So we don't know if some other giant could have done it, but some people were, a little annoyed about Saul being alive because he's presumed to be dead for since the Buster Call. And also I noticed that Oda took this immediately out of the way, and it's a good thing, I think, because it's all calm, everything's good, and Robin immediately, like, if somebody's waiting on an island alive that you haven't met for in 22 years and one of the biggest proponents for you living, I'm beelining to them. I'm not waiting to eat. I'm not waiting after the party. I'm not waiting. No, I'm beelining to them. This is, I think, the best decision. But some people were saying it is fast, but I think it is one of the best decisions because if I go to New York to visit a friend, I'm not going to go do my things. I'm visiting the friend, especially if it's as important as Saul is to Robin. And knowing that they're alive. And we have the whole crew just tearing up. Everybody's tearing up. Frankie's making the funniest. Everybody's losing it. And of course, the three stoics of the group. Luffy just smiling. Zoro and Jinbei. We don't know if they were crying. I doubt it. But maybe Jinbei. Because Jinbei is like a dad, He would be crying. Well, he doesn't. I don't know. It's just he's very early in the crew. Anyway, you have Luffy just smiling about like this accomplishment of what's happening, and it's great. It's beautiful. I truly loved this chapter and how slow paced it was. It was focused on growing a little bit of Elbaph and then just Robin focus, which I feel we haven't had a very significant Robin chapter since the whole second time skip. Like, well, don't get mistaken. I'm Black Maria was a very good, enlightening chapter for Robin and a very Robin-focused chapter. But other than that chapter, I feel like we haven't had a Robin-focused chapter the entire post-time skip. And I think that with this chapter adds so much more depth and growth to that moment, and Robin as a character is just fantastic. I think this is great character writing, great growth for Robin, great little like aspects of everybody in the focused in the chapter, and we have stuff to look forward to. So that is the end of the chapter. Stuff for next chapter is they get Saul. They immediately go get food because we finally get to have a festival of the crew and everything. So we might get an exposition dump on what I'm hoping for the most is Loki stuff, and maybe they explain why Loki is not here. Loki's locked up. Maybe he brings up the name Loki because he heard it. It'd be a little fishy, but Luffy would know Loki. Or maybe they just bring up the brother that is locked up in the bottom in the realm of hell. Then we get Lin. We get Big Mom information. We might see why it's so significant that Big Mom was defeated. Mother Caramel stuff that we can get, and why it would be so... Oh, that's the thing, is she killed Mother Caramel. They don't know she was evil, but they think that it's unforgivable that they did that she would have been the reason Mother Carmel died, which she is the reason. But they also didn't know about the dark side of Mother Carmel. But that would be another thing they are oblivious to, but they are saying, well, she is the reason that she is no more, and the Mother Carmel is no more. So that could be it. We get a Loki exposition dump. Maybe we have the moment where Luffy can turn into the Sun God form, and they're saying, yes, that is actually the Sun God form. You are Nika. You're not the rubber fruit. Or maybe they talk about that stuff. And because giants live for a lot longer, they can pass down information for a lot better than human generations. Stories get diluted over time because somebody else says the story. So after somebody else says the story, and they're cutting pieces out because they're not remembering the story entirely. So you might forget something in 5-6 generations of human lifespan, even 3 generations of human lifespan, whereas giants would live for way longer. So their generation, I think 300 years. So their lifespan and passing down of generations is 2 years, or between 2 or 3 generations instead of the 6 or more that it would take humans. So that can be something that they know of, the the Void Century more info, and even the Sun God more info, versus somebody like the Buccaneers passing down their own version of the story, or somebody knowing about the Sun God, which we can have Bonnie, shed some light about that, and maybe even bring it up. And actually, Dory and Broggy do know the sun god form, the Nika form. So I think they would realize that that is the form, that white-haired freedom form is sun god Nika. So they can emphasize and bring up that information. So I'm excited, man. There's so much stuff that can happen. I'm looking forward to it. Please, oh man, let me know if there's anything I can work on. The lighting, the microphone, if I should improve the microphone. Is it good? Anything else I should work on? Please let me know. Other than that, it's been great. I'll be here for the next chapter. Please leave me a like, comment, subscribe, and just leave me a comment, and I'll see you for the next one.